You want to be on YouTube? Ducky, you want to be on YouTube? Okay, get me those views. Oh. Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. First gonna say I cannot sacrifice my fan. You can maybe hear in the background. If so, I'm sorry. It's too hot. So I'm finally making a video that you guys have asked for, and it's how I study Korean using novels. As of now, I've completed 3 Korean novels. I don't have one because I donated it. So I have finished 3 Korean novels, start to finish, and I've learned so much vocabulary, grammar points, like different phrases and like idioms and stuff, simply from reading books. After I studied for the TOPIK, I really struggled to get the strength to read with or like study with grammar and textbooks. I couldn't do it. I burnt myself out with TOPIK, I think. And so I've just been reading books and enjoying myself and learning a lot. So without further ado, let's get into how I study with books. So, first thing I want to do is I want to define 2 concepts that pop up in the linguistics world and like the StudyGram community, and that is intensive reading and extensive reading. So, what are these 2 things? Well, first, let's start with intensive reading. Intensive reading is when you're reading with full concentration. You are focusing on the words you don't know, you're focusing on the grammar, you're trying to actively figure out each sentence and grasp the full meaning. Most people that read intensively tend to stop frequently, search up words. They tend to make sure they understand the sentence before they go on to the next or paragraph like this. This reading can take a long time, but it's very, very beneficial to understanding. If you are frequently looking up vocabulary and grammar and then reading it and seeing how it's used, then you are actively using and learning each vocab and grammar that you see. The next one, which is extensive reading, is kind of similar to just reading for enjoyment. You just read. You're not focused on if you don't know a word. You're not actively translating or working through the grammar. You're simply reading. This kind of reading is really good for grasping context and the bigger picture. You can lose a lot of focus, or you can kind of struggle with understanding the detail of the reading while you're doing this, but you're likely to grasp the context and the flow of the reading. So personally, I think that both intensive reading and extensive reading have pros and cons. And personally, I use both ways of reading when I read. All right, so let's talk about how I read with these 2 methods. So I do like to use both. What I usually do is I read about 10 to 20 pages extensively. I just read. Sometimes I'll underline words I don't know, but I don't look them up. Same with grammar points that I don't really understand the meaning. I underline them and then I move on. I keep reading. At this point, I just want to focus on understanding what's happening in the broad sense and seeing how much I can understand. It's kind of like a test to myself, and I don't want to pressure myself at this point. So after I extensively read a certain amount of pages, I stop and then I go back. And this could happen immediately after I stop reading, or it could be like the next day or the next week that I'd get back to this part. And I read again. This time I do stop to look up the words. So, okay, say I have a sentence and there is 3 words I don't know. When I'm doing my extensive reading, I read the sentence one time, I see if I can guess the words I don't know, and then I go to Naver Dictionary and I search them up and I do write them on the page. You will see that. Like, you can see that my book is very marked up, very written in. I don't have any hesitation about writing in my novels because they're mine. They're strictly for learning. I'm not planning on donating them or giving them away when I'm finished. Like, these are mine, and so I am very liberal with the pencil. So I do this, and then once I've looked up the words, I read one more time so that I can read through with the words that I now know and I have written there to see, and I give the section another read through and try to fully grasp what it's saying and what the grammar means and stuff like this. Okay, and so now the question and the debate that I see a lot is which one is better. Is extensive reading better or is intensive reading better? And in my thought process, I think both are very important to understanding and enjoying reading a book. Not everyone likes to read intensively. Like, it can be draining to do that. Like, if you're constantly stopping to read, to look up words and highlight grammar and like reading the same thing over and over, like, you get a little bored, right? Well, I do, which is why I also do extensive reading as well. I find that doing this does help me keep my interest up and my motivation. And then when I'm feeling a little bit more studious, then I go back and I do the intensive reading. I'm mixing them up. I'll show you this book. So I have 2 bookmarks. I have this metal heart one, and then I have this little red tab up here. So this is the book I'm currently reading, and it's called 답장이 없으면 슬프긴 하겠다. So I do have these 2 bookmarks. The red bookmark, this is where I stopped intensively reading. So everything up until the red bookmark has been intensively read. I have looked through it all, I have highlighted, I have looked up the words, I've read it many times. And then the heart, the metal heart bookmark, is where I've stopped extensively reading and where I have just been reading. So I try not to let the gap get too big, because then I do get demotivated and I think, oh my god, I have like 50 pages I have to intensively read, and I'm not all about that. I don't like the pressure. I try not to pressure myself. So that's that. I think both methods are extremely important to comprehending and learning from a novel. And honestly, I think you should just read however you want. If you want to extensively read every single paragraph, stop, start, that's your prerogative and you can do what you want. And if you just want to read the whole book without looking up a single word, more power to you. It's fine. I think as language learners, we want to make everything into a task, a very strict, rule-based task. And due to this, we often struggle with having fun. So when you're reading to learn your language, try to have fun. Try to have fun. As, for example, this novel, I did start intensively studying about 17 pages. However, I'm finding that I'm understanding it quite well. There's only 1 or 2 words a page that I don't understand, and honestly, I can kind of infer them from the context and the situations. So I think I've accepted the fact that I'm just going to intensively read this book. Extensively read this book. Why? Um, so it's going to be a fun project. It'll be my first book that I've only extensively read. And yeah, and then if I do ever want to go back, while I'm reading, I still do underline the words I don't know. It's just I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to interact with every single unknown vocabulary word, because I just finished this book, which is the 책을 지키려는 고양이. It's about this like talking cat that meets this guy Rintaro, and they have to go through all these tasks to kind of like save books, and it's really cute. I do recommend it, and it took me 8 months to read. I will tell you, my start date is January 10th. My finish date is August 4th. So it took me 8 months to read this, and I'm okay with that. Like, it's fine. I did take about a 3-month break from it after TOPIK, during and after TOPIK, and I got back into it at the end of June. But yeah, so just read how you want to read. It's fine. As long as you're consuming content, nothing matters. I do tab my books. So these blue colored tabs is passages that I really liked. Things that I thought were cute or nice, or like the phrasing was cool. I do tab those. And then the pinkish red ones, these are things I don't quite understand, and that I need help from a native speaker to kind of understand, like, why did they write it that way? Why did they use that word? What is the context and the meaning of this? So I will have to go back and get my ever so nice boyfriend to help me with that. So yeah. And then because we're on the topic of books, I want to show you this book that I got last night actually at the Gyobo. It's called 나를 팔로우 하지 마세요. It's about this girl whose mom like posts like her life on Instagram, and how like she's kind of obsessive about documenting her daughter's life, and like making it look very Instagrammable. And I think the premise is that she's gonna start like kicking back against her mom's actions and stuff like that. It's like young adult. It's only 198 pages, and it's a lot of dialogue. So when I was in Gyobo last night, I saw it and I said, wow, this is perfect. Like, I love it, and it looks really simple. So this one, I will also use the extensive intensive method to read, because it's more description based than my little essay book here. So yeah, maybe I will make a study with me with this book whenever I start reading. So I hope you guys learned something or gained some inspiration from this. I know that a lot of people say to me like, I'm too low level to read a book, or I'm stuff like this, and like books are so hard. And I think you should just take it one page at a time. If you're super low level, one paragraph at a time. If you have no confidence in reading books, one sentence at a time. You really don't need to finish a book in like a day, a month. Like hell, you don't even need to finish one in 6 months. I told you that this one took me 8 months to read, and my Korean level is not beginner. But because I'm not familiar with studying with novels, it was really hard. So yeah, and I don't know how long this one took me. A couple months as well. But yeah. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope that I've encouraged you to read a little bit. You do learn a lot. It's really fun. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye bye.